So the most complex place in the Bosque perhaps is the Mesa. The Mesa means table. It's not the most exciting name, but things get named stuff, you know, like what they are. It's the largest flat spot in the whole Bosque. I have spent years thinking about this area. When I first got here, I built the View, which is a cabin over there, and we had to put the road up and buy a bunch of gravel. So this was the very first step at the View, right? It was like try and establish a presence at the View. That particular cabin went there for a very pragmatic reason. I put a cabin over there called Bliss, and that's kind of off on its own. It's a little bit near to the road that goes to the north, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't affect anything. It's got potential for water. It's right next to Mystico, a little cave. And then you've got the entryway. The entryway comes in from nearby town. You've got roads that are overgrowing constantly because plants grow in them and trees grow in them, and that kind of just happens. You've got the View Garden, which is where we're standing at the moment, right? This is kind of like your Mesa overview. The View Garden area is a really interesting sculpted forest that I'm creating. And I'm not sure how it's going to go, but I know that I'm dealing with oaks with a lot of it, and I'm going to sculpt the oaks. They really are the best tolerant tree for that. And so I'm just doing amazing things. I'll make a whole other videos all about this. It has different sections of it and everything. And really, who knows where isn't garden? Anywhere that we don't put a building is a garden. And so we just have to make decisions about, you know, water flow and what we want where, and we want to have human use in there and a maximum biodiversity and biomass in the same exact place. That is the goal. Let's always be clear on that. And the Mesa is a really good example of some of the things affected by that. So we have the roads. They should all be one-way roads. Currently, I don't know which way they are. I should just make a map, figure it out, put up a few signs that are easy to move, and then make some decisions. There's also two cabanas up there. They're called Cosmic and Truth. Most people who come here never even see those because they don't walk around enough. It's a big space. But that could easily be fixed up as a great place for a group of people. There's two-story cabanas. I can put beds upstairs, could put beds downstairs in some, and then have some have a kitchen or something. I could build other structure with a kitchen outside. There's already an outdoor stove built. It's really a great spot that's out of the way for a group that wants to be insular a little bit. So that's, and they're not currently totally done. I need to do cobbing in the walls to improve the insulation. And I should probably pick where cars should park over there. That's, you know, one more project. I've got other places that are ready to stay right now, but that one's a whole other project. You've got whole other spaces here. The Barranca borders is on one side, and there's group camping areas. I've got a youngish grove of trees here, which is getting older, and I've got another one like that over there. This one's a little more magical and cool. I used to have a little trail through it. I'm not sure what could be in there. Could be a magic space to camp. It could be that I need to make Kid Via, right? There need to be 3 kids play areas, one in the north, one in the south, and one in the Mesa. And so where does the kid playing area go on the Mesa? That's just a great question. And it should go in a place that's relatively central-ish. We could use the slope of Gaia Hill quite effectively, actually. Kids are noisy. I want to be noisy, so I don't want them too close to much other stuff. I want them in a secure kid alcove environmentally, and also where they can have a really good time. So I've got multiple options for that. That's confusing. And then over there's a road that goes to the lodge. There's one that goes uphill to another gate, the southwest gate. I've got spaces I don't know what to do with in there next to the doghouse. There's doghouse as a structure that is kind of an outline of a building that I was looking to fill in with natural materials, but I'm not sure of the engineering on it. So I'm hesitant. On this side of the View, you've got one of the most important things there. I mean, this side of the Mesa, you've got one of the most important things at the View, and that is the view of the lake. And I've got Bliss with a view of the lake through trees. I've got a spot that will have a view of the lake someday, but I'm just leaving those trees there because I want to, and also trees in certain spots don't really block view, and they're very useful. So if you don't need to cut it down, don't cut it down, but I would like to eventually get a view built over there. I'm not sure how it's going to work out. Then I've got the view at the View Cabana, which I actually have the Fay Abbey sign on, so it could be like Fay Abbey South or something. I took the sign from the house when I left, of course. The actual view of the lake is an amazing spot to sit and enjoy, or you could do anything. People have done yoga over there. There's metal chairs. I need lots more metal chairs. So with RV spots, I've got toilets at Bliss and Cosmic and Truth. I could start hosting people here really pretty quickly. I've been really happy that my development in this area has been so slow, because I don't like to mess up. And so I questioned myself for years before making a decision about what's going to happen somewhere. Above this is Sanctuario, a hill, and the plan for that is to put a building there and use the materials of the hill to dig down to bedrock. And that building will be kind of like those Greek buildings in Greece. I don't know what they're called. The white ones on the hills, So that's a little bit of a tour of the Mesa. That's an overview. I'm going to have to make videos about every single spot and what the plan is and how to treat it. Because, I skipped some stuff, too. Like, I just mentioned that grove, but it's actually an interesting grove. There's an area between here and Nexus, which is what I call the central meeting of the roads. There's an area between here and there that's highly useful for something. Perhaps camping. Might be a great campground. I wouldn't put Kid Villa this close because I want them to be noisy. That's fine. I don't think they're bad for being noisy. I just don't want them doing it near me. So that actually almost puts Kid Villa over there. Well, it could be in that grove and a bunch of the open area over there too. And then I want to wall it in. I believe children should be walled in for their own protection and to protect the things around them. And we'll make sure there's no rattlesnakes in there or really poisonous plants. And is that everything about the view? Down from the view is the slope. There's the steepest slope, which is why there's a view there. Views are at the top of slopes. And so there is the idea of building buildings that go down slope here, kind of like those Greek ones, Mycos, or those white ones that go down the hillside. They don't have to be white, but they should be designed to maximize early morning sun, because that's when you really want to warm stuff up the most and the fastest in a building. And using evacuated solar hot water heaters. God, it's hard to walk around here. There's just hazards everywhere. So anyway, that's really more about the slope. So that's really a different conversation. So I'm not going to describe that entire building, but that's a really important aspect to this view of Lake Pátzcuaro. You see Janitzio out there. You see the lights of Pátzcuaro at night. Oh, and then there's this area. This is just going to remain forest. It's in a view spot, but it's all nice spots. I'll put some metal chairs in there people can sit on. That'd be awesome. I have a carved out spot down below. It's good to sit. There's a couple spots where we could actually have coffee in the morning easily. I've done that. We've had breakfast up here at the View at times. The View is basically my space right now. For the moment, I would actually like to build a more reclusive space for me. Because when I have people here, I actually lose the most privacy. They've all got their little spots, and then I'm in the central location, and that's actually very uncomfortable for me. So it's my home right now, and I'm just moved back upstairs because I can do it. And it just has one tank of water that I'm really careful on water up here. There's no shower. There's nothing like that. There's a composting toilet nearby, but I now believe that composting toilets should be next to buildings on porched areas. That is what I believe, because that allows, not all of them, but I need more public toilets just around, I think. I want people to be very comfortable. Terrible lighting. See, the sun's behind me. It's the kind of thing you got to be careful of, think about. Of course, more bird habitat can go up here. Got to see my other videos about this amazing view park. Even right here, there's a little island park that we're putting some cacti and magueys in. So that's a tiny park there. There's a lot of details. This is also a great target area for, in addition to having like housing, well, I don't want housing on the Mesa for now. I would be willing to have camping and RVs, and then people staying in the cabanas here. All of those can be developed as independent areas. so that people can also socially distance extremely well if they wish to. I mean, I usually want to socially distance unless I want to not. But most of the time, I live, in the middle of the woods. But I do like people, and I think that there's times when people can come here to escape other people. And I want those people to be able to park in a place that's easy for them and that they can be totally independent. I mean, that helps me out a lot. Because if I have to serve someone like it's a hotel, I don't have staff for that. So anyway, that's one of the first things to do, is develop spaces in this area to actually exist. Other building ideas, and I didn't mention this one, and I'll do a whole other video on it, is the volleyball court area, which we didn't get to, but since the forest in front of it's going to be kept short, that's actually my widest range of solar power in the entire forest right now. Maybe some other places will develop later, but it's an awesome spot for solar collection. And so in that spot goes a building, right? A good building, 2 to 3 stories tall, kind of big. The entire roof should be covered in solar panels. This is the location where solar power is generated. I already know that I can crank solar power 200 yards in a place with underground cables, okay? And we're not using big devices here. So we cover the whole thing. We have batteries that can suck all that energy in really well. We may have some supplemental systems that actually make sense, which does not mean perpetual motion, by the way. There's goofy people in the forest sometimes. And so this really exciting building would have in it a row on the second floor of solar hot water heaters, right? And those are heating up ovens into a kitchen that can be really well ventilated, and because it's going to be hot in there, right? We're going to have a row of ovens, all of them being powered by solar hot water heaters. Now, we don't have to build all those at once. In fact, I'd recommend doing practically an outside one as a demonstration model, kind of like the size of the solar dehydrator, using evacuated tubes. Anyway, so I want, basically, I guess before I make the ultimate kitchen in there, this is the kitchen with the solar panels and everything, I need to make smaller ones to see what's wrong with my process. Again, I've learned this thing: never build your best one in your best spot. Because your first one, never build your first one in your best spot, because the first one isn't going to be right. It's a prototype, really. We usually get things right by try 3, but and most people just buy. They don't invent. And here we've invented a moderate amount, but our skills aren't as high as they should be. Like, our whole engineering should be better. Anyway, in this case, they'd be commercial solar hot water heaters feeding into heating up ovens, and that means that baking is possible. And baking is a really good way to have heat in a contained space that without fire even, okay, not even any fire, and you could bake huge amounts of everything, like bread and stuff. And so you could actually design the space so that it was created to crank out food for huge numbers of people. And so, pots of food go out of there that people take to somewhere else. Like, let's say it's beans. Beans take a lot of energy to cook. These solar hot water heater ovens, by the way, you could put a fire assist in it. And I think that's where the experimentation is needed. But given the fact that my solar hot water heaters boil water, I believe that I can get to enough heat that, some pots, for example, could be in a water bath. There could be a trough under stainless steel, and then there's holes cut in it for an exact correct sized pot. And, so you're mass producing food at that level. Like, I want to take all the basic foods, potatoes, things like that, and have the most energy efficient way to cook them. And so even like I imagine that stainless steel countertop with the holes in it, and then you put in the pot, and then you could take a thing that drains, like a pot with holes in it that fits in that pot, and put that in there, and then those pots could just get being taken in and out, and you're not carrying the water. We want to reduce the carrying of water, and we want to reuse the cooking water for multiple things. So essentially the food's already in a big strainer. You pick it up and you dump it into another big pot, and then you've got your 5-10 pounds of potatoes done at a scale where it might be a little hefty, but we really like the scale of that, where things can go really quickly. And so this is a hard design to do. I understand various parts of it, The power part is basically pretty straightforward and getting easier. So that's just up on the roof. The question is, what's the roof made of? The roof should probably have a flat roof with good water drainage at a tilt to it into total capture system. So you're capturing the roof water completely, and that's going to be used for agriculture and things. If you kept your roof really clean, maybe you could use it for water, and maybe you could have a diverter where you can collect it sometimes off the roof if it's clean. But mainly that's going to be water you're going to use for agriculture. Your overflow, because it's going to be expensive to store that. Of course, you first fill your drinking water systems, and ideally you would maximize those. But your overflow has to go somewhere. Now, in the case of the roof water, that's how I got off on that. Yeah, that's not drinkable in the first place. So then, how are you going to collect your rainwater? I guess the only way is you elevate your solar panels. You could make them on twisty things, they're a cost. They could all be on twisty things, but then you got to twist them. I know they have motors on them and shit. I can investigate that. But my thought that I prefer, I think, almost, is to make a roof, probably metal supported, and put all your solar panels on it. So a whole angled thing, just like all those rich, fancy, fake fuckers do. Sorry. Rich people are great. Please visit me. Anyway, it's an issue with how solar power is used in fake, ecology and shit. So, but I'm imagining like a roof full of them. So like, 30 times more than what I have now or something. And then full battery system to store all power that you can. And it should be the highest quality batteries and the easiest to deal with. I don't know what brand that is or what technology. Of course, it's usually better to get local technology that I can deal with. If I can't get something, if it breaks and it's hard for me to get, it's really hard to get things for me. I mean, things just doesn't work out. So I need things I can buy in country, ideally, because batteries are heavy generally. I do like the idea of bigger batteries that are more efficient and newer than kind of the older ones I've been using, even though those have been great, but they're dead now. And that's a whole other problem. Anyway, but yeah, this would solve that. And then cable gets run to Cosmic and Truth. Cable gets run to Bliss. Cable gets run to the View, right? And actually, it's already partly run out there, but we might want to switch and use bigger cables. We might be dealing with more power than we would be dealing with a lot more power. We come to the View. At the View, it connects to the electricity that currently comes from the lodge, goes to the View. We reverse the use of that cable, and we send power down to the lodge. We don't ruin the solar power system in the lodge because that is a valuable system, and if we want redundancy. So we're centralizing power heavily here, and this maybe isn't the best idea, but I need some power in some places, and so I need a central location that can function 24 hours a day for various things, even though we should not live that way, and we won't generally. Anyway, so that building's very important, and that's part of the Mesa. I may have to just cut some of that out for a different video. What do you think should be in that building? I don't know. Hi. This is Boogie. Boogie is a dog. Hi, Boogie. Hi, good boy. I bug Boogie a little bit. It's good. He's been such a good boy. Can you sit? You can sit. That's a very good boy. Yeah, he's a young guy. He's I'll think about him.